That's right, boys. Welcome to the side of the ring because it's time for some ringside rumors. Dave Meltzer responded to someone asking if we should expect an exodus of AEW talent, particularly from NXT, and said, looks like a few right now. He clarified that he doesn't think it will be a mass exodus, but it looks like a few want to go. I like that Miro was like, I don't want to leave. I like that Brody King was like, I don't want to leave. I like that there's a bunch of wrestlers who were on the WWE payroll, and now that they're on the AEW payroll, they're not like, Triple H is back. Well, I'm just going to go back to the WWE. I like that there are people, and even though Miro hasn't done anything for the last 3 fucking months, except scream into the end, except he's being an old man who yells at a fucking cloud, even he is like, you know what? I'm going to stay with AEW. I respect that. I really do. If I left WWE for greener pastures and then the pastures actually became a lot more greeny on the other side, I still want to stay with AEW just because it's like I haven't done everything that I want to do yet, you know? And it just seems kind of like, okay, how do I put this? It just feels like I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay until I do everything that I want to do, and then I'm going to leave. But that's me. I'm not even in AEW, but I would argue that that's the mentality that people are having in AEW at the moment. Next, Fightful Select has sources telling them there is a belief Buddy Matthews could be on his way out of AEW, and this past week's Rampage taping may have been his last night in the company. I understand. I completely understand. House of Black wasn't doing anything. They weren't doing anything. Nothing. None of them have gotten titles at all. They were running around doing a couple storylines with a couple stables and tag teams, but ultimately nothing really ever came of it. They didn't win the trios titles. Malachi didn't win the All Atlantic Championship, and no one's got the TNT title, and nothing is happening, man. Nothing's happening. When is the last fucking time, Julie? Actually, no, that's not true. That's not true. Let me not ask that question, because I'm sure she was on Dark or Dark Elevation, and it's my fault for not watching the match. Next, in addition to Drew McIntyre dealing with food poisoning, Fightful says his segment with Karrion Kross on SmackDown went wrong when the flash paper didn't work as intended, and they were forced to change things on the fly. They say everything after that was improvised. Have you learned nothing from the WCW incident with Hulk Hogan? Actually, that was pretty good now that I think about it. If I remember correctly, that was actually a lot more flashy than this. I get what they're trying to do. No. It was, never mind, I take it back. Because Hogan was trying to do it, and it didn't, work. He tried to throw it up into the air, but it sort of, blew up in his face. Don't do it. Maybe don't do it. A spot that's so volatile and could go either way at any moment, no matter how many times you practice it, maybe don't do that. Maybe just go for the tried and true low blow or the spit in the eye or something that 9 times out of 10 is gonna work. And even if it doesn't work on the 10th time, it still sort of kind of works. You get the message across. Thank Jesus that it if you look, it went sort of past his head, and it makes sense. Which is why I can't really say too much, because it's you can still react holy shit, where did the fire come from? Fucking hell, right? You can still do that, right? Which is good. But I go vote, man. I just, spots like that, it's bruh, if there's a 97% chance that it's probably not gonna work, probably not gonna fucking work. Next, the Wrestling Observer newsletter says that WWE has been talking about promoting Gigi Dolan and JC Jane to the main roster for a while. I thought they were already on the main roster. I don't understand this. I will die on this hill. They were already on the main roster. So were they just up there to be hi, we're on NXT, and then they left? Okay, never mind. To stay on the main roster, to stay there, to be on the main roster, and to not go back to NXT, which is fair. There shouldn't even be a main roster. I thought NXT wasn't even developmental. What the fuck is NXT level up then if NXT is developmental? Developmental for developmental? What the fuck are we talking about? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Developmental for developmental. I develop to get on the main roster. What the fuck am I doing? Well, what is this? I'm a fetus, and then I have to be a fetus for a fetus, and then I turn into a child? What the fuck is going on? Finally, this week's newsletter also includes a note about an injury to Aliyah. She's been out hurt, but is believed to be minor. She's listed to return next week. Well, yeah, I kind of assumed that, considering the fact that Damage Control came out and said, we put Aliyah on the shelf, and all that's been happening is Raquel Rodriguez has been coming out by herself, and then she's been getting help from Shotzi, if I remember correctly. So I mean, if Aliyah wasn't injured, I feel as though that Aliyah would have been right behind her. So it's only fair to assume that Aliyah's been injured. Also, Ulyssa Leon also is getting knee surgery as well. So hopefully she makes a speedy recovery. And that's it. What did we talk about? Meltzer responded, "Is it a mass exodus? No! Some people just don't want to be there. I do like that some people who are there are like, no man, get the hell off of me. I'm not leaving, I'm not fucking leaving." Fightful Select sources are telling Buddy Matthews is out of here. I understand. House of Black wasn't doing anything. They were doing anything. What were they doing? If they were doing something, please tell me, because fucking hell, looking at it, man, all they were really doing was getting in a bunch of minor feuds, and that was it, man. That was it. In addition to Drew McIntyre, Drew McIntyre had food poisoning, and he got pulled from a couple house shows, and he's feeling better. Dave Meltzer says that he's eating food, which is a huge step in the right direction, but he doesn't fully know that if he's fully recovered yet. And also the whole fire spot segment, apparently that didn't go well. Crazy, absolutely unheard of, an unpredictable fire segment that, considering the history, it never really seems to go off well. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't really go off well. Literally, it doesn't go off well, so I'm not really surprised. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane are going to get called to the main roster. So what is NXT? I don't understand why you can't just be on NXT and then go to Raw and then go to SmackDown. But then again, I don't know, man. Fucking weren't they okay? But wasn't what's their name? Fucking Fight Night. The Brawling Brutes. They were on SmackDown and they were they were on Raw and they were like, oh, we're on SmackDown, but we're here for a fight. Okay, so there's no issue with you going from different, promotions or different shows. That's not an issue. But you're making it seem like the main roster and NXT are two completely different things, which I guess they are. So then what is the Level Up then? Developmental. Then what is NXT? Developmental. Why are there 2 developmental shows then? What am I doing? What is happening? This week's newsletter also includes a note about injury to Aliyah. She's going to be making a return next week. Great! I'm glad that she's better. I'm glad that she wasn't out for too long. And I'm also glad that it's going to further the storyline between her and Damage Control. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Ringside Rumors. I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I'll definitely catch you guys in the next one.